Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on WKRX 96.7 FM and TV Channel 10, where you can pick up at Channel 191 on Charter Communications. My name is Rob Hall. We're glad to have you tuned in to the Gardener's Corner program. We're brought to you today by South Boston Memorials, T.G. Brooks Company, and Goings Auctions. They are having a big auction in Bunn, North Carolina at the Montclair Complex coming up on November the 15th. We'll tell you all about that and much, much more. We are live in the studio today, so without further ado, I'd like to make welcome a man that wakes up in the morning. When he goes in the bathroom, he looks in the mirror and he says, "Bring it." Oh, no. A man that is ready to face any kind of challenge that he is faced with in the landscape and lawn. A man that looks forward to walking by trees, shrubberies, and flowers and seeing them smile. A man that thoroughly enjoys his job. A man that, if he had all of his qualifications on one card, it would be the size of a piece of 4x8 plyboard. Please make welcome all the way from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, Mr. Carl Cantalupe. And a good morning, sir.
Oh, that's me.
That is. That's. I know. I mean, whenever I am giving you a formal introduction like that, you know, I know you just kind of get hung up in the thoughts of how impressed you are in the gentleman that I am introducing.
That's right. Very much impressed.
Yes, yes. How you doing, my friend?
All right, Rob. And you?
Doing well. Like to welcome everybody to the Gardener's Corner program. And, you know, it's a pretty sunshiny day out today. A little bit cooler. I think it's going to be pretty cool tonight, down in the high 20s, as I understand.
It's going to get that low.
Yeah, but it's getting to be that time of the year, and Carl has got a lot of information to pass along to you, and as just mentioned, we are live in the studio, so if you've got a question for Carl, give us a call, 336-599-0266. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have a special guest join us on the show, and he is a new employee of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. We'll introduce you to Gary Cross coming up in just a few minutes and tell you what he does, and glad to have him here. And anyway, that'll be pretty interesting to talk with Gary, because
we'd like to introduce him, and
sounds like he's got a diverse background in ag, and so
yes, he does.
but yeah, we'll get him on in just a few minutes, but we'll jump right into the Gardener's Corner program. Again, we are live in the studio. Our telephone number, 336-599-0266. Feel free to give us a call, and if you've got a question pertaining to your landscape, maybe a gardening issue, or maybe you're having an insect problem, give us a call. We'll be glad to help. And speaking of insects, I guess that would be a good topic to start on.
That's right. Yeah, we've already been getting calls from people about these red. Okay, it would help if I have the thing here right.
Well, you know, every now and again we have a technical glitch, and we didn't get everything set up as early as we had hoped to, so we're kind of shooting from the hip, so to speak.
Yes, we are.
The blind leading the blind.
All right, we'll try this again here, see if it works this time.
And
No,
it does not.
It does not. This is the first time that this.
We may have a loose connection somewhere.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's going back to my other slides here, instead of taking off the present. Now this should. No.
Well, I'll tell you what
Well,
we
we're
may
gonna
have to do.
yeah.
Our engineer is tied up doing something else right
Okay.
now. We'll get him in just a few minutes, and maybe he can help figure out the glitch. So,
Yeah. Well,
I
we'll
guess,
talk about it.
Well, I was going to say what we got to do in radio a lot of times is paint the picture. So
That's-
we got to
that's
paint
right.
the picture. So go right ahead, Carl.
Box elder bugs are invading people's homes right now. They're kind of a red and black insect that congregate around the base of trees. Actually, they feed on the seeds of the box elder tree, which is also called the ash-leaved maple. And they make their way, they congregate on the south side of buildings, and they make their way indoors, and people get concerned because they see these bugs inside the house. They don't cause any harm, but they are a nuisance. If you crush them, they'll leave a red stain. So the only thing you can do really is just vacuum or sweep them up, and then and then once we get cold temperatures, they'll kind of disappear. The same with the Asian lady beetles. They look similar to the common lady beetle, but these are ones that were introduced from Asia, and they kind of make their way indoors now, and they seek out cracks and crevices, and they get inside the house as well.
So it's no harm from them or anything like that.
No, they're just basically a nuisance. That's
So
all.
just get the vacuum cleaner out and give them a rainbow or an Electrolux moment or something like
well,
that.
I had to reset the other thing. Okay.
You know
we're
what they
in good
say,
shape
Carl?
now.
When all else fails, press the reset button.
That's right. Here's a shot of some box elder bugs at the base of a tree. Here's one close up, and this is what they look like. Some people have never seen these before. Actually, they see them for the first time and they wonder what they are. But this is the ash-leaved maple. The leaf structure on the tree almost looks like it's poison ivy, but it's kind of a shrubby-like tree, and this is what the tree looks like, and this is what they like, and they feed on the seeds of the box elder tree, which is again the ash-leaved maple, and you can see the seeds here. They're the whirlybird structures that you see, coming down off of the tree. This is what they like to feed on. Here's the Asian lady beetle, which looks a little bit like the common lady beetle, but they can really congregate in groups, again, on the south side of buildings as they try to make their way indoors this time of the year. Other things that are going on in the lawn and landscape now, if you've noticed pine trees outside, and if you notice what looks like they're shedding a lot of needles, this is normal needle drop in pine. They'll shed the 2- and 3-year-old needles, and if you see something like this, you say, oh my goodness, what's happening to the pine tree? And this is natural. Some years they'll lose more than others, but as long as the needle drop doesn't occur at the tip of the shoot, you're okay. Because if you see browning of the needles at the shoot tips, the needle tips, this is due to it could be due to a fungal needle blight. But these will fall and cause no harm to the tree, and the tree loses and regenerates leaves. Some years we notice it more than others. Azalea shrubs do the same thing. Most people don't realize that azaleas do it, but sometimes they'll see a lot of leaves on the azaleas turn yellow, and they think something's a problem, but it isn't. They also will shed some leaves, and it's more prevalent, some years than others.
Okay. We are live in the studio today. You can call us at 336-599-0266. Want to give a plug to the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. They are people that have knowledge, and they are there to share the knowledge that they have with the residents of, the given counties that they represent. Also, the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service has a lot of different publications that can help you construct things such as a greenhouse, a compost pile. They have a vegetable garden planting guide, so many other things, and we are very fortunate to have the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service here throughout North Carolina, because these people can help you and save you a lot of headache and heartache. And with it being November, it maybe would be a good time for you to maybe download some of these publications, or you can call your local Cooperative Extension Service office here in Person County at 336-599-1195, or the Granville County Extension Office at 919-603-1350.
1350. Right.
Carl has actually got a picture of the publication that you can receive to help you construct a home greenhouse. And just over the winter months, it'd be a good time for you to maybe get the publications and read through them, and it would give you some ideas on maybe some other things that you would like to attempt.
That's right. This is a very easy structure. It's about a 12 by 16 Quonset style greenhouse that uses plastic and then PVC pipe for the frame. So there you see the picture of it, and then it shows a picture of the structure, then the list of materials that you need. And in the publication it says that you can build this for less than $100, but the publication was put out in '97, so it's it probably maybe at least twice that, but still it's a good deal because it lists all the materials that you need, so you know exactly what you need to buy, and it has good pictures in it to show you how to set it up.
And with a greenhouse like that, you could extend your growing season, maybe a couple of months to each end. Maybe not quite a couple of months, but probably at least 3 months, maybe a month and a half at the beginning and a month and a half at the end.
Yeah.
So
would be very good for that.
It sure would. It'd be something that you maybe would want to check out, and sure you would enjoy it.
Right.
But again, you can call either the Person County Extension Office or the Granville County office, or whatever county that you are listening in, and they will be glad to send you those publications. Carl, would you take time to give out the website where those publications could be downloaded at?
Right. It's www.ces, that's CES for Cooperative Extension Service, .ncsu.edu. Again, that's www.ces.ncsu.edu.
Okay. Carl, this morning on the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report, they was talking about reviving Christmas cactuses. And, of course, we hadn't made it to Thanksgiving yet, but, Christmas is less than 2 months away. So what I'm getting at is, any advice for those people that maybe has a Christmas cactus?
It's a good idea, Rob. Yeah, Christmas cactus, If people have those indoors, they're probably noticing that they have several buds on them by now, and Christmas cactus will start to form buds if they have enough. Well, if they're growing in a cool room around 50 to 60 degrees, they'll initiate buds with no problem. But if the temperature of the room is warmer than that, then they're kind of like the poinsettia, where they will go ahead and produce buds and flower under long night temperatures. So along with the poinsettia, if you can put a box over it at 5 or 6 in the evening, make sure that no light can get in there, and then take it off the following morning. This can trigger the flower development.
Okay. And while we're kind of on Christmas for just a tidbit, before you know it, poinsettias will be out and be available. And any quick tips on how to choose a nice poinsettia?
Just make sure that it's got it's got good color. It's free from insects or diseases. When you buy a poinsettia, it's always a good idea to do that last in your shopping trip, because especially if it gets cold, cold temperatures can injure poinsettia. Poinsettia is a tropical plant, so make sure that you pick that up at the last part of your shopping trip. And a lot of places, greenhouses, will put them in sleeves to protect them from the cold temperatures. Indoors, high light, south window, the most light that you can give it as possible. Make sure you have drainage holes in the bottom of the pot. Don't let the excess water sit in the saucer under the pot. Get rid of it after you've watered, so that you don't get root rot. And a lot of people, when they buy poinsettias, the pots will be wrapped in aluminum foil, and then they'll just go ahead and set that on a saucer, and they won't poke holes in the bottom of that foil. So what happens is that water just sits in the bottom of the pot, and then this encourages root rot. So good drainage, and discard the excess water.
The poinsettia likes moisture, but it does not like to have wet feet.
That's right.
Back to Thanksgiving for just a moment. I used to see it, a lot about this time of the year, but down on Old 75 in the STEM community right there, what used to be Coley, nursery.
Coley Bunch Nursery.
It's a gentleman right there across the road from the nursery that takes a big round bale of hay and he's got a turkey head cut out, and then he uses like some tree branches to look
For the
like the
feathers.
turkey feathers
That's
on
right.
the tail. And that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
And-
he does that every year.
and then he'll be converting it before much longer to a reindeer. So
That's right.
pretty neat. I don't know who the gentleman is, but I think that is really neat, and that is about the only one that I've ever seen
Yeah.
that way. But
That's right.
maybe some of you folks that's listening on the radio could come up with an idea, because those unique holiday decorations will stand out in your mind for sure.
Right.
We are live in the studio today, 336-599-0266. Carl, let's me and you both climb up on the soapbox
Okay.
and encourage everybody to go ahead and take it, more or less, take advantage is the word I was looking for, take advantage of the free soil sample analysis test
Right.
up until November the 26th.
That's right. Yeah, you people have until that time to get soil samples in. After November 25th, from the 25th of November until the end of March, the NCDA charges $4 a sample. So get your samples in to avoid the $4 charge. And still, the results are coming back fairly quickly now. It's still about a 1-week turnover time to get your results back. As long as you include your email address on the report form, you will get a notification in your email box.
And for anyone that has a lawn, if you have trees, if you have a garden, if you're planting field crops, a soil sample analysis test is strongly recommended because, so many times people call into the show and they, talk about how much fertilizer should have put here, how much fertilizer should have put there. And you're just kind of taking a shot in the dark to say.
That's right.
And a lot of times you may need lime and no fertilizer, sometimes vice versa. So take advantage of the free soil analysis test thanks to the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. But again, you've got up until Thanksgiving to get your soil sample turned in. After Thanksgiving until the end of March, it will be $4 per sample for this test.
Right.
We're going to get a word on for T.G. Brooks Company. And after we hear a word from T.G. Brooks Company that's been in business since 1936, we're going to bring Mr. Gary Cross of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service on the show with us. And we'll spend a little bit of time talking with him. But right now, let's take a trip to T.G. Brooks Company, located downtown Timberlake.
Here it is, November, Thanksgiving month. It's time to start preparing for Thanksgiving and the holidays ahead, picking up your cold weather supplies and needs, and time for wood stoves. Hey, where can you get Taylor wood stove parts? T.G. Brooks Company, of course. And they have the Comfort Glow infrared heaters for the cooler evenings. Hey, it's time to be thinking about that country cured ham and some hoop cheese. People from miles around come to get those hams and that hoop cheese. It's also the time to do last-minute lawn preparation. On some warmer days, you can still utilize that day to spread seed, fertilizer, and spruce up the yard. Then next spring, your yard will have a head start. Right now, the leaves are really rolling in. Remember T.G. Brooks Company for your rakes, tools, and needs for the lawn. Remember them for your turkey cookers, and they also have racks, thermometers, cooking oil, and all the instructions that you need. All you need is the turkey. T.G. Brooks stocks pots and cast iron and aluminum pots and double gas burners. Cold weather means a check on your stove, pipe, and pipe fittings, 6-inch and 8-inch, and they have stove mats also. Check out the new Comfort Glow infrared quartz heaters. You're going to really like those. Hey, always keep the pets in mind with cedar shavings to keep them cozy on these cooler nights. T.G. Brooks has wood splitters, wedges, axes, mauls, and of course, lots of gloves. Don't forget the bird seed available in 25 and 50-pound bags, and sunflower and black oil seed is in stock. Each evening you're going to love that steak when you work so hard. So pick a night. Stop in at T.G. Brooks Company, get a supply of those hand-cut ribeye steaks. They're famous for them. Last call for pansies, the biggest and the prettiest. They'll make your November and Thanksgiving beautiful. T.G. Brooks Company, Helena Mariah Road in beautiful Timberlake, serving the homeowner, farmer, and construction worker since 1936.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Rob Hall here. And Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. We've got a guest in the studio with us today, and we would like to make welcome Mr. Gary Cross. He is a new employee of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. He is the newest field crop agent, and he will be dividing his time between Person and Granville counties. Welcome, Gary.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on here today. I feel honored to be sitting next to such a tremendous horticulture agent.
Well, I'm glad that you're excited about it, and I hope you can retain that excitement even after the show is over. But, Gary, you was telling me that you have relocated here to North Carolina. Been here, about a month or so now?
About a month.
And I hope that you have taken a liking to the area so far.
Oh, yes, I have. Very, very good. Very good people.
A little bit about your background. You was telling me that you had been in the Lone Star State, working then there in many different areas of the agricultural business, and you was talking about the acreage of cotton that you all had in Texas, and was it 230 some thousand acres?
It was around 230,000 acres. Those are large counties out there, large geographic counties out there, and you can't grow anything without irrigation. And we had cotton, corn, large. We have very large livestock. 7,000 to 8,000 head dairies. Huge feedlots. It's just big agriculture out there, and we do everything by irrigation. We do some dry land. It's not just all cotton. We have corn, wheat. We don't have soybeans out there because they won't grow well there and take too much water. Water's the big issue out there in Texas. In fact, that's the biggest argued issue out there is Texas and who controls the water. And farmers out there, want a right to capture issue to be able to control their own water rights to water their own crops, because we're all over the Iguala Aquifer over there, and there's lots of rules and regulations that go over an aquifer. So farmers won that issue, so they have the right of capture in the state of Texas, which is a very good issue. And it is large count, it is large crop, but also, you could lose 50,000 acres to one evening hailstorm.
Wow.
I've seen that happen twice when I was there, but here, you've got diversity in crops. You've got corn, you've got soybeans, you've got tobacco, you've got wheat, maybe some other type of crops that I'm not aware of yet. Tobacco is your main high-value crop here in this region. And, what I hope to do, the first thing I'm going to start off with is a Farm Bill meeting on the 20th and 21st. The 20th will be at the CFO Fire Department. Is that how you pronounce it? CFO Fire Department.
Yeah.
I'll get
You
these.
learn all these
I'll
names.
learn all these names. Help me out here. From 7 to 9, we'll be up there doing a Farm Bill. It's very important. And then we'll have another one up from 8:30 to about 11 up at the Person County Government Building, talking to them about making decisions about being in this 2014 to 2018 Farm Bill, and it's very important that they attend these meetings and be there in that capacity, because making a choice can making the right choice of what program you're going to need to be in can mean more or less money, one of the two. So.
Right. Now, so on November the 20th, I think that will be a Thursday.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to be at the CFO Fire Department. Now, is this meeting open to farmers only?
Pretty much farmers only, because it's only basically affecting farmers. Like if you're a fertilizer dealer or grain company and you want to come to it, that's not a problem. But it's mainly farmers from that capacity, because it's affecting what their decisions are going to be in relation to Farm Bill and farm program selection.
Well, now, with your job with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, what exactly is your job consisting of? What will you be doing on a day-to-day basis?
That's a good question. Basically doing a lot of, Carl does the horticultural end of things, which you guys do a very good job of describing that every week.
Well, we really fooled him, hadn't we?
I'll deal mainly with tobacco crops. I'll be dealing with the grain crops here in this region. Any type of issues related to disease in those type of larger field crops. Any type of insect issues related to those type of field crops. Basically any type of agronomic and economic, to some extent, issues. My job is basically to make a producer more efficient, do educational programs to help create efficiency in their farming operation. That's what we're trying to do. We're starting out with Farm Bill programs on crops, because right selection will make a little better efficiency in what they'll be doing in their farm program payment program in the next 5 years.
Well, now, as far as being in Person and Granville counties in about the month that you have been here, have you had the opportunity to get out in the two different counties and meet some of the farmers already?
I have. I've met a few of the farmers. I've met a few of them through people taking me around to places. Kim Woods, who you know Kim very well, and Paul Westfall, and yes, the man next to me,
Yeah.
Carl.
We're trying to get him
They're getting me
acclimated.
acclimated. They're getting me acclimated.
Well, that's good, that they are kind of taking you under their wing, so to speak, and introducing you to a lot of these
Yeah, that's
different
great.
people. If by chance, if it's a farmer that is listening that would like for you to come out to their place sometimes and just kind of shake and howdy and get to know
Yeah,
you
you
and the
bet.
opportunity for
Right.
you to get to know them, how's the best way for them to contact you?
Call the person or Granville County offices. We're available there to answer questions and for information to come out and look at things. You got a problem out there want it looked at, call us.
And again, those numbers are 336 599 1195 or 919 603 1350. Carl, have you got anything that you would like to ask Gary about?
I'm afraid of
That you can't
I'm
on
afraid
camera?
here.
Smile, you're on candid camera.
Yeah.
No, he's doing a real good job getting out and to meet the folks, which is good, and I think he's going to fit in well with us here. He's got kind of the same extension philosophy as we all have, so I think he'll really do well and hit the ground running.
Well, Gary, we want to wish you many years of success with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. And, a lot of people may frown on whenever they see a county car coming up to their place or whatever, like, oh, Lord, what do they want? But the Extension Service is there to help.
That's right.
They have knowledge and they don't mind sharing it. And if you have a problem that they're not familiar with, they have the resources to do some research and help find out a solution for
Absolutely.
whatever given problem that it is. It's unfortunate that we have to have them for problems, but it's nice to know that they are there, a telephone call away. So any of you farmers that are tobacco growers, maybe if you have beef, dairy cattle, maybe raise soybean, corn, wheat, or any other crops. I know that a lot of them stay busy year-round. Why don't you just set up an appointment sometimes to have Gary to come out to your place, and maybe you can put him in a pickup truck or maybe one of your all-terrain vehicles and ride him around and kind of show him the lay of your land and what you're working with. And anyway, I know Gary would enjoy it, and who knows, maybe he could give you some insight on some ways to help make your farm a better producing farm. And you know what? That's what we're all after.
Bet.
Better
You
end
betcha.
results. It sure is. Well, Gary, nice to meet you.
Well, thank you for having me on.
And I'm going to try to hold off on forming my impression of you for hanging around with Carl Campalupi. But anyway, want to wish you the very
Thank
best.
you very much. Thanks for having me on.
And anyway, thank you for coming out and spending some time with us. We're going to get a word on for one of our sponsors of the Gardener's Corner program. We'll take a trip over to South Boston and stop in at South Boston Memorials.
South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. They offer granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums. For more information, visit the website soboatmemorials.com or call 434-572-3859. South Boston Memorials have been in business and family-owned since 1958. In-house laser etching is available at South Boston Memorials. They have over 300 granite memorials in stock. For all of your granite markers, monuments, and mausoleums, stop in and see them right there at South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia, or call them at 434-572-3859 and visit the website soboatmemorials.com. That's South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Rob Hall here. with Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. Carl, enjoyed meeting Gary, and,
Yeah.
and glad you brought him out.
Sure.
And again, we want to encourage.
We weren't too hard on him, I don't think.
No, I think you done fine, and we was going to put him under the heat lamp, but the bulb was blowed, so we wasn't able to do that. So, make little beads of sweat, break out on his forehead. But I think he would have handled the situation well, whatever the situation may be. But
Definitely.
again, any of you folks that maybe are tobacco or row crop farmers or anything like that, give Gary a call, and he'd be glad to come out and talk with you sometimes and see your operation. He's new, and I'm sure it is a tremendously big difference from being in person in Granville County as to what it was being in the Lone Star State. I've never been to Texas myself. Have you, Carl?
No, but I've been in western Kansas, and I'm thinking that probably the topography of western Kansas is the same as where Gary was located. It's a lot of wind, hot and dry, low, maybe 12 inches of rainfall, and large farms. And it just there's nothing to stop the wind from blowing out there.
Well, I was watching something within the last few weeks, and they was doing a feature on a farmer in Nebraska that feeds his cattle with horses. And he's got this huge hay wagon, and they pile their hay up in hay piles. And he takes his team of 6 horses, pulls up beside of this hay pile with the wagon, unhooks from the wagon, and he takes a chain and he wraps it around the hay pile. And the wagon that he has is close to the ground, but it'll kind of tilt to the side to form kind of a ramp. And he'll pull that hay pile up on that wagon. And I think this hay pile is somewhere about 4 tons.
Wow.
Well, the horses are leading this wagon along, and he's got like a boom grab on this wagon where he's dropping it off to feed the cattle. But one of the things that they were saying in Nebraska, they have pretty much like an endless water supply to where they can dig a well, 20 or 25 feet deep and got all of the water that they possibly could ever need. And a lot of times they are using windmills to pump this water.
Yeah, a lot of windmills out there, yeah.
And you talk about that, then you talk about Texas, suffering from a drought, not having the amount of water that they need. So it's pretty interesting how when you travel around to different areas of the country as to what different people are faced with.
That's right.
And I guess to use a few words from the movie The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy said, "We're not in Kansas anymore." And speaking of that, The Wizard of Oz play is going on tonight, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon at the Kirby. It's a production of the Roxbury Little Theater. So if you get the opportunity, head on out and check that out. Anyway, getting back to the business at hand.
Yeah, all lines open if anybody wants to call in.
Yeah, 336-599-0266 for the Gardener's Corner program. Carl, we was talking about insects a few minutes ago, and then we touched on Christmas cactuses and poinsettias, and I think you want to continue on about some different insects.
Some current problems now that if people have, if they haven't seen these, they will be seeing them soon. People that have pecan trees, if they see limbs of the branches fall down with the branches still intact, this is usually a result of the pecan twig girdler. And they just girdle the twigs, and the female lays her eggs in the twig right before it falls. It'll just be hanging down. A lot of times they'll be just hanging just on a wooden thread, as you see in the lower bottom slide here. But they lay their eggs in these fallen twigs. So the best means of control is just to rake up these fallen twigs and get rid of them, so you destroy the eggs in there. That's what the adult pecan twig girdler looks like. It's a longhorn beetle. It has a very long antenna here, and it can camouflage itself very well to the pecan. Here's a shot of a larvae inside of a pecan twig, and here you can see it greater enlarged. You see the adults in there as well. Here's another shot of the girdling effect of the adult borer. The eggs are laid, and then you can see the holes, the exit holes of the larvae coming out. And here's a shot of the actual larvae inside the pecan. So this one is very, very easy to control. Just rake up the fallen twigs, and that will really help a lot in reducing the population of the twig girdlers.
Carl, on the topic of pecans or pecan trees, you can pronounce it any way that you want to, I guess. If people want to plant some pecan trees through the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, you all have a list of fruit trees that do better than others in this area. Now, when is a good time to plant the pecan trees?
Well, just like other fruit trees, when they're dormant, that's the best time. So if you can select a nursery that will ship dormant trees, generally they ship them in January and February before they start to sprout. And that's the best time to plant dormant, bare-rooted stock. Or if you go to a local nursery that has them growing in containers, you can plant those anytime.
One thing that you may want to do if you do want to plant some pecan trees, you need to go ahead and maybe pre-order these pecan trees, because many times the nurseries and different growers of these different kind of trees, they sell out pretty quick. So if you wait to say January or February and decide I'd like to plant a few pecan trees, well, guess what, a lot of times they have already sold out.
That's right.
So you may want to go ahead and place the order. And for a pecan tree, I'm going to take a wild guess and say you can expect to pay around $70 to $75 per tree, Carl.
That might be a little high. You could probably get it for less than that. But of course, what you want to do when you buy a pecan tree, you want to buy a tree that's already been grafted. So you're maybe looking at about 5 to 7 years before commercial production. Now, if you started out with a nut that was planted, and then that turns into what we call a native tree, it's the wait is much longer. So buy a good variety, varieties that do well in the area. In our area, a Stewart variety does very well, and try to get a different variety, such as a Cape Fear or Pawnee. So either plant a Stewart with a Cape Fear or Pawnee in order to ensure good cross-pollination, so that you'll get good nut set. And then make sure that you space them properly, because the trees will get large. So you're probably looking at a mature tree spacing of anywhere between 40 to 60 feet between trees.
And Carl, you make a good point there. If you already have an existing pecan tree and you do not know what variety it is, it would be a good idea for you to order 2 different varieties of trees.
Right.
And that way your existing tree could cross-pollinate
exactly
with the variety that you order. And I had actually wanted to plant a couple of pecan trees last year, but I waited too late and done a couple of searches online for some pecan trees. but unfortunately they had already
Yeah.
sold out. So you may want to go ahead and book your fruit trees early to ensure that you will get them, and that way you'll be ready to plant when you get them in, in your hands, so to speak. But so again, be sure to call the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, and they can send you out a list of different fruit trees that do a little better than others in this area.
That's right.
And one thing about apple trees, as Carl has talked about it, you need so many cool nights for certain varieties of apples to mature around here. And
To give it the nice red color.
and so it's a lot of apples that do better here than they would elsewhere, but also with some apples that don't do well here as maybe as they would up around the Stewart, Virginia, or the North Carolina mountains.
That's correct.
Moving along, Carl, as far as here it is, fall time of the year, is it anything that people need to be doing in the landscape? What about
Yeah.
pruning trees? Is it a good time to prune?
Hold the pruning tools for most plants until the spring. Although if you have elms, birches, maples, and dogwoods, they're best pruned in the middle of December so that the sap doesn't run. But right now, people that have shrubs in the landscape, especially ones that have euonymus, there's the green euonymus. This slide shows the variegated euonymus. They are very prone to getting euonymus scale. And this is what the underside of leaves look like that have scale. You have both the male and the female scales here. The females are the brown. The white scale are the males. Here you see it better, more close up. And these suck the sap out of the leaves, and they can cause dieback. As you see in this shrub right here, you have bare areas. The best thing to do if you have a heavy infestation of scale insects is to prune the shrub back severely. This way you get rid of all the scale, and then next spring, as the shrub starts to grow, you can apply sprays of malathion to the shrub. The malathion will kill the immature stages of the scale, known as the crawlers. The crawlers are produced from the mother scale. They actually come out from underneath the mother scale. The mother scale has kind of a hard, armored, waxy coating on it, so insecticides don't do a good job in killing those, but you can kill the crawlers. So you want to stay ahead of scale, and euonymus just loves to be attacked, I guess, by scale. Should have said scale really love euonymus. If you have euonymus, a scale will sniff it out, as far as a mile away.
Okay. We need to get a word on for our other sponsor of the Gardener's Corner program, Goings Auction Company. They are having an auction coming up on Saturday, November the 15th. The auction is going to take place in Bunn, North Carolina, at the Montclair Complex. Also, this is a consignment auction, so if you've got some equipment that you would like to get listed on this auction, if you just contact Mr. Greg Goings of Goings Auctioneering, he can help you out with that. So here's more information about the big auction taking place in Bunn, North Carolina on Saturday, November the 15th. Mr. Greg Goings of Goings Auctioneering, NCAL number 390, announces the second annual consignment auction to be held at the Montclair Complex in Bunn, North Carolina. Come expecting a nice selection of cars, trucks, tractors, trailers, guns, metal and woodworking equipment, antiques, collectibles, motorcycles, motorhomes, pedal tractors, and farm toys. Lunch will be available. For more information, call Mr. Greg Goings at 252-578-1623. No Sunday phone calls, please. This big auction taking place on Saturday, November the 15th at 9 a.m. For more information, log on to
GoingsAuctionsINC.com, or call Greg Goings at 252-578-1623. Cars, trucks, tractors, trailers, guns, metal and woodworking equipment, antiques, collectibles, motorcycles, motorhomes, pedal tractors, farm toys, and much, much more to be sold Saturday, November the 15th at 9 a.m. in Bunn, North Carolina. It's the second annual consignment auction to be held at the Montclair Complex. Call 252-578-1623 or log on to GoingsAuctionsINC.com.
All righty, here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. We've got just a couple of minutes left, and going to turn it over to Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. And Carl, I think you had a couple other things that you wanted to touch on here before we have to leave.
That's right. A couple of things. What we have, what we're seeing now in apples, people that have apples in their home orchard, they're seeing a couple of different diseases on the fruit, and you can follow this if you're watching the TV or on the computer. Sooty blotch and fly speck, and they're aptly named. Sooty blotch is kind of a blotchy spot that gets on apples. Fly speck are just little black dots that look like fly speck. And this particular apple also has scab, which is a fungus disease. And all of these are just superficial. Except for scab. Scab can extend into the fruit and make large corky spots on the fruit, but these are harmless. If you find you have apples that have these fungus diseases on them, you can just slice these away, and the apple is still safe to eat. The other thing that people should be aware of right now is if they've harvested peaches off of their peach trees this year, brown rot fungus is the one that turns the fruits into mummies and turns the fruits brown overnight. Now's the time to go underneath the peach tree, and if you find any pits that have fallen to the ground, or if you still have pits that are in the tree, remove these, because if you leave these pits on the surface of the soil, as you see in this slide, spores are produced around the perimeter of these pits, and the spores are contained in these structures known as ascus cups. Then the following spring, when temperatures are right, the spores literally explode out of these ascus cups and start landing on the fruit in the tree. So a good, thorough sanitation of the peach trees or any other stone fruit trees that you have is a good thing to do, so that you can at least eliminate the source of inoculum for brown rot fungus next year. You also have to start in with spraying on a schedule and using the fungicide Captan, C-A-P-T-A-N. If you want more information, give us a call at the Extension office at 599-1195, and we'll send you out the insect and disease control in the home orchard publication.
All righty, a lot of useful information that we sent out your way today, and we hope that you can take that knowledge that Carl shared with you today and put it to good use. Again, lots of different publications available free of charge from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. You just got to get in touch with them and let them know which publications you would like to have.
Right.
Or you can log on. Give us the website one more time, Carl.
www.ces.ncsu.edu.
And you can download a lot of different publications to your computer, and you can have them at the click of a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Special thanks goes out to our fine supporting sponsors. They were Goings Auctioneering, South Boston Memorials, and T.G. Brooks Company. Thanks goes out to you, the viewers and listeners of the Gardener's Corner program, and our resident expert, Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. Thanks to Mr. Gary Cross for coming out and spending a little bit of time and introducing himself to us. And my name is Rob Hall, and want to wish you and yours a happy and safe weekend, and we'll see you next Friday for another edition of the Gardener's Corner program.